Did President Trump and his daughter Ivanka both donate to Kamala Harris's campaigns in the past? There's a viral claim you asked us to look into. Here's Jason Puckett with our verified team.
The internet has been busy since Senator Kamala Harris was announced as Joe Biden's running mate. Now, there are a lot of posts that support her and a lot criticizing her, including this video President Trump shared calling her phony Kamala. But Trump's comments had many sharing a different claim. This tweet says President Trump and Ivanka Trump had both supported Harris in the past by donating to her campaigns. So is that true? The verified team dived in. Our main source, campaign records from the California Secretary of State's office. Now, campaign donations have to be publicly reported, and California publishes those records online. So if you search for donations to Kamala Harris by anyone with the last name Trump, you get 3 results. President Trump donated $5,000 to Harris in 2011 for her re-election to California's Attorney General, and another $1,000 when she ran again in 2013. Finally, Ivanka Trump donated $2,000 to the Harris Attorney General campaign in 2014. So, claimed that President Trump and Ivanka donated to Kamala Harris in the past? Verified. If you've got more questions for us to look into, send us an email. With your Verify, I'm Jason Puckett.